I just wanted to give you some feedback on your introductory speeches. Overall, I thought they were really good, and I enjoyed hearing about you and your life and your hobbies, and was just pleased overall with how you did with this. I want to talk about two specific things concerning speeches that I noticed in your introductory speeches just for future reference. The first is speaker notes, and the second thing is gesturing, what to do with your hands during a speech. And so let's first look at speaker notes. First of all, it is okay to have notes and use notes. In fact, we're going to learn how to use them effectively this semester, and so you are required to have them in your informative and persuasive speech and your group presentation. And so what we want to do with these notes is, like we've said before in other videos and in the modules that you've looked at, it's okay to use them, have them bullet pointed so they're not written out full sentence, refer to them when you need to, when you don't need to, just look up at the camera, look at your audience. We really want you to look at your audience and speak to the audience. That's what the goal is. We want a natural delivery style, so we don't want you reading from them, which fortunately nobody did. That's great. But we also don't want you to just try to memorize your speeches 100%, because that can get pretty tricky when you move on to different subjects besides yourself. And so make sure that you're not afraid to use notes. It's okay to pause and look down at them if you need to, but we also don't want to just get stuck to notes and tied to them. So there's a little bit of a balance when using speaker notes. Second thing is gesturing. I noticed several of you had your hands in front of you or down here. It is perfectly okay to use your hands when you talk, but we don't want to overuse them. And so the rule of thumb typically is to put your hands by your side when you're not gesturing, but when you need to emphasize something, go ahead and use your hands. It's okay. We don't want it to look rehearsed. We want it to look natural, all right? So think once again in terms of a natural delivery, what feels natural, what looks natural. That's what we want with our gesturing, with our posture, with our words, our fluidity. Those types of things should all sound very conversational, yet somehow extremely prepared. It's like we're making this stuff up off the top of our head, and we're doing a really great job of it. But when, if we actually look at our preparation, we see that no, we've really prepared this. This is not something that's spontaneous. It just looks like it. Okay? So it's okay to use your hands. Don't overuse them. Don't keep them up here. Don't talk. Once again, it's finding that balance between using them when it's appropriate and then putting them by your side when it's not. This is a hard habit to break, especially if you like to hold your hands in front of you. This provides a barrier between you and the audience, and it's kind of a little bit of a comfort zone issue. So it might be a little difficult. It might feel weird at first, but let's try to work on that. I want to talk a little bit about how we graded these particular speeches. The first speech, I always want to encourage you and highlight the things you're doing well, because I know public speaking is difficult for a lot of people. Some of you may have found it easier to speak in front of your family and friends, while others of you may have preferred an audience of strangers. And so we just have to adjust to the audiences we have. I do want to say that this particular speech you were graded on whether or not you gathered your audience, your required number of audience members, whether or not you met the time requirement, and whether or not your setting was a quiet place with no distractions. This is very important because we want to make sure that you're giving a speech in a room that is not only quiet, but that your speech is the only thing that's going on in that room. And so all of you did great on this aspect. You're not going to be graded on this necessarily in the future like you were on this particular speech, but I just wanted to get you in the habit of gathering an audience, considering your location, your setting, and making sure that you are not distracted by things that are going on in the room. So keep that in mind. As the speeches progress in difficulty, so will the grading. It won't necessarily focus on these things that we focused on in this particular speech. And so we'll start getting more into the delivery, more into organization. We'll start looking at visual aids and grading you on those. And so just realize that the grading will change as the speeches progress. All right, other things to consider when you're giving your speech is lighting. Make sure that we can see your face. Some of you stood quite far away from your audience, and so it's kind of hard to see your face. It's okay to move a little bit forward, get a little closer to your audience so they can see you, but think of lighting as well. If you have a lamp right behind you, it might throw a shadow on your face, or if your room is really dark. So just consider that. It's hard to see your delivery when we can't see you, and so just kind of consider that. Also, you can see the feedback that I've given to you by clicking on your speech grade. So just go into your grades section of the canvas of the website, and you'll be able to see my comments on the different areas of your speech, and hopefully that'll give you some good feedback. If you have any questions about any of this, just let me know. Once again, overall, you really did a phenomenal job on these first speeches, and so keep up the good work. We've got informative speeches coming right up, and this is a speech where you get to pick any topic that you wish to talk on to just inform us about. And so feel free to talk about anything except something you can't research. You've got to research for this particular speech. All right, the phone's ringing. We got to answer the phone. So we'll talk to you later. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks so much.